The Waka Waka Expert Advisor has been running for 6 months on my real account and is very comparable to the vendor's own account, which has been going for 5 years now. I am trading at 0.01 lot size on this account, which started off at $500 and is currently up $345 or 68%. This is a grid martingale strategy and it does require mean reversion type of moves. That's why on this account, we've got it running on the Aussie CAD, Aussie New Zealand and New Zealand CAD, the three currency pairs that do tend to mean revert a little bit more. And generally for these kind of systems, the win factor is about between 70 to 80%, and we can see here it has been consistent. However, remember that these kind of systems also involve a smaller average win than the average loss. Here I've got my average win at $2 and the average loss is $4. It's also important to not look at the balance line for these kind of systems because it can be quite misleading. It's much better to look at the equity line, and you can see here there are sharp spikes occasionally that you will see come down. Well, this is not a very good graph because it is a daily view. I'm going to switch to the hourly view, which is a much more accurate, and because I do update this chart every 5 minutes. You can see there are definitely sharp spikes down here. This is where it shot down to about $150 worth of floating profit and loss, $100 floating profit and loss here and here. So in the past 6 months, we've got 3 sharp spikes down of about $150 worth. This account is on the Go Markets Plus broker and it is a 500 to 1 leverage account. Remember that you will get different results depending on your broker. Currently, I do have 2 open trades, one Aussie New Zealand and one New Zealand Canadian. The vendor also does share her open trades and she also has one Aussie New Zealand and one New Zealand Canadian open, which is the same as mine, but this is not always the case. In the user dashboard, if you want to see what settings I'm using, go to my FX book and I'm going to go to Waka Waka, and this is the exact set files I'm using. This link down here, download signal set, click on that and it will give you the exact settings. So the vendor does provide the set file that comes with her my FX book result as well. This is what I did 6 months ago and I honestly have not touched it since. This is the free VPS you get for 6 months when you buy an Expert Advisor from Valerie, and it's not a big VPS, but it is enough. I run 7 MT4 terminals on this one, and the CPU capacity is at 16%, and the memory is a little bit high at 80%. Definitely do not go above 80% because when you overload your VPS, you will find that your MT4 terminal doesn't perform and you will have missed trades. This is the MT4 terminal that I've got running the Waka Waka Expert Advisor, and I'll show you the settings. Remember that this is a fairly small account of about $800. So I've got my settings here to mid-risk, which is about 0.01 lot size. And the rest of the settings are pretty much exactly the same as what I showed you before in the user dashboard. And you can see I've got the 2 trades that are currently open, but I do want to show you the historical trades. Account history, you can see a lot of them time the take profit is hit. It is a fairly high good win rate strategy for this Expert Advisor. It's always important to look at the charts when you get an Expert Advisor, even if you don't really know what's going on, because it tells you a lot in terms of if it's a trending strategy, a mean reversion strategy, or if it's a grid one. So with a grid Expert Advisor, if you look at this trade right here, this is a buy trade and you can see the price is going down. So for this EA, when the trade goes against you, it will continue to place buy trades in slowly increasing lot sizes. And the beauty of this kind of money management is that instead of the price needing to retrace all the way back to where you start, it just needs to be retraced between 30 to 40% for you to come out in a profit for these 3 groups of trades. But that's just for when it loses. When it wins and it picks the direction pretty accurately, you just have the single trade. For example, up here, you've got a sell trade and it took profit. Down here, you've got a sell trade and it took profit. So only when you see these groups of trades, then you know that this is the losing strategy where it goes into grid mode to try to recover the trade. And if we scroll to the left, You can see occasionally it does happen. You can see a 4 grid trade happen here, and it came out there. The rest of the time it seems to pick the direction pretty well. In June, you can see it was pretty good with picking the direction, and the worst that I've seen is way back in the start of June. You can see here I've got a 5 trade scenario, and with my particular broker, you can see I managed to come out right here at the tip of this move, and then the EA placed a whole bunch of more trades, and it came out in profit here. But this is just for my broker. This is a plus account, and it's similar to a raw account where the spreads are generally pretty good. You can see here, it's important to pick a good spread broker. If you have the opportunity to pick whether you want a standard account or a raw plus account, always go for the raw plus account, because these kind of moves here, if you have a big spread, you might not exit at this point where I managed to do so. So please be aware that this is a high risk expert advisor. It is definitely not the holy grail. If you do trade it, try and trade it with relatively low risk settings, just in case you see this huge move like we have done so in June. This is not a recommendation to buy this expert advisor. This is just my experience with the EA on my specific broker. If you like grid martingale systems like the Waka Waka, check out this video here, which is the Golden Pickaxe Expert Advisor, which is the exact same logic applied to the gold system. And there is a great tool called the portfolio mode, which I go into detail how you can have multiple settings on the one account to maximize your profits.